Hey, hey, what is going on? This is Ricardo, and we are live for open mic. And you're probably watching this. And also, I'm looking down because I'm trying to share this. At the same time, Facebook changes everything all the time. So now, before I was able to just go on the app and push one button, and it would take me to where I needed to go to be able to do this. And now they changed it, so it's all different. So I have to put this on here or completely switch the buttons that I was doing before, and I'm sharing this now, and it is all snap, here we go. And again, it's Thursday. If you all remember years back, Open Mic Live started on actually twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the reason for that also, the pandemic, all of the civil unrest and everything that was going on at the time. And I went live, actually the very start of it, the broadcasts, I went live on a Sunday at like 11:30 at night. And I just went on to talk and share funny stories the way I do in open mic during an Imagine Listening session. And it ended up exploding. And I ended up cutting it down to just Thursday. Well, then I was trying different days and everything else after that. Not immediately. I was watching the metrics and I was going through all of the analytics and just everything. And I landed on Sunday. Well, as you know, or maybe you don't know, maybe you live under a rock. This Sunday is the Super Bowl. No one's going to watch this. Oh, Crystal, what's going on? Yeah, COVID PTSD for real, dude. Can you even believe sometimes, like thinking back, like I talk to my kids about this, thinking back at what it was like during that time. And they're just like, yeah, it was crazy. It was weird. So we're big pro wrestling fans, right? And that's no secret to anybody. And we talk about what it was like watching pro wrestling with no audience. Luckily, eventually, like WWE, they ended up being in this arena called the Thunderdome, and they had all of these digital screens where people could sign up to be the audience. And AEW, another promotion, they had their own wrestlers, and I think maybe family too, and production people be in the audience so that you could still have that type of um, just environment of being there live. So, you've got that, and then what else was there? Oh, traveling. How many of you traveled during peak COVID time with a mask, especially on a plane, and there's no one in the airport? I miss those days. Because I was still traveling, man. I was still traveling out there, going to conferences, well, not conferences because they weren't going on, but still teaching, still going and doing, other things. I mean, we still had to work, right? So, there was a lot of things that I was still doing where I was traveling and stuff, and when people started coming back into traveling and some of the conferences, there still wasn't a lot of people traveling at the airports, but I remember there were a few times where it was like a ghost town or like The Walking Dead, like a zombie apocalypse was going on. But yeah, open mic, I ended up having it like every Thursday at 9 PM Eastern time. And yeah, I've only been on for 5 minutes now, but it's because I had just gotten back and I ran upstairs. I was like, I gotta do this live. I need to do it today. And yeah, I did this without any warning. went live, which is fine. We're live on Facebook right now, YouTube, and X. And I will say this, usually you see there's a logo on the bottom for In Digital, and I just want to say a big shout out to In Digital for all of the years of support and sponsorship and everything else. Our time has come to the end. Who knows? Maybe they'll be back. But I just wanted to say thank you and that you will always be part of my story because they were the ones who plucked me out of dispatch. They found me through the podcast, through Within the Trenches podcast. And I ended up going to work for them for like 8 or 9 years, something like that. And they're still a supporter. So just there's nothing wrong. Like they're still a supporter. It's just times change, right? And but I wanted to be able to say thank you. And I know that I've said it. I think I said it in one of the episodes, but I can't remember if I said it here on Open Mic Live yet or not. But either way, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you, and I always will. Because, like I said, you will always be a part of my story, a big part of my story, and just a lot of things that came out of that. So, thank you very, very much. And all of you who watch, listen, support, and share, you will always be part of my story as well, and my continued story for years and years and years to come. So, welcome to Open Mic Live. It is February 5th, 2026. And as we always do on Open Mic Live, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Where are you at? Roll call. Where are you at? Where are you watching from? I'm out in Indiana. And also, we check in with each other. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty, 10 being awesome, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm coming in at an 8, maybe an 8.5. I'm feeling pretty good. But what I will say is that, and also please throw in some reactions there, throw in some comments. Crystal's got comments up in here, which I love. Thank you very much for participating up in here. Crystal says, couldn't get away from work long enough to travel even across town. Keely says, Slack messages are a 0. Damn that Slack. Regular life, like a 7. I dig it, bruh. I am in New Jersey. But you know this. Yes, I know that. And also, please share this broadcast out there because I gave no warning that I was doing this, and it's all good. It's all yeah. Share it out there. Share it on your social media. And let's see. Crystal says Lake Placid, Florida. Awesome. Where that big ass alligator is. That who, alligator crocodile. I don't know. Either way, I think it was an alligator. But from that movie where Betty White is feeding this massive ass alligator that is like killing people. But Crystal's coming in at a 4. So anything 5 and below, let's see if we can get that number up by the end of this broadcast. And even if it stays the same, that is good as well. Because this is what we do. We come here for about an hour or so to talk and chat and laugh, whether we're sharing 911 stories, 911 calls, or just sharing um, stories in general. Forget about what's going on in the world for about an hour and let's just be here in support of each other. And let's get those numbers up. Or again, like I said, if the numbers, at least as long as the number stays the same, that is what this is all about, too. See, Catherine, what's going on, yo? Coming up in here from Boise, Idaho. I love that you added the potato up in there. Very cool. I dig that. And Crystal says it was an alligator. Okay, so it was for sure an alligator. All right, excellent. So as I said, you know, I'm coming in at an 8, 8.5, feeling good. But I will say, for the past couple of weeks, though, I have not been doing that great. My numbers were really low during that time. And Erica, what up, girl? What's going on? Coming in from Michigan and is an 8 as well. 5. That's what I'm talking about. Very nice. Um, a lot of you know this, a lot of you, and some of you maybe you don't, but a year or so ago, I was diagnosed with diverticulitis. I'm not going to get into the whole explanation. It just it sucks, and anyone can get it. Anyone, and it's mostly, from what I was told, being over 40 and sitting a lot, like not being mobile, and basically eating not the greatest stuff. Because what happens is your intestine down to the poop chute. Yeah, we're going there. We're going there. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Um, I guess the way I understand it, these pockets end up creating were like certain foods, or at least that was old research from what I was told from my doctor. Now it's like, no, it has it, people just get it. I don't think so. Um, in a way, I don't. I mean, I believe my doctor, but there's got to be something more. But there's certain foods that kind of there are these pockets that form, and there are some foods that just kind of stay there, and eventually, like it gets infected, and you are if you've ever had, I'm sure everyone has had gas, right? That bloated feeling. So it's like that times a lot. It's not a good time. It hurts. And I I thought, like, the first time in the beginning, what I thought was going on was like, "Oh, I just got indigestion, right? It's just acid reflux. I've had it for years." But then the pain got really bad. And then I end up going to the doctor and they're like, "Yeah, no, I went to urgent care is what it was." And they said, "Well, you should probably get like an x-ray or something." And they're like, "Yeah, no, we need you to get a CT." Well, then they're like, "It's got to be a CT with contrast, which uses iodine and stuff, and we need to see what it was." Ultimately, it's like you've got diverticulitis. And I was like, "Oh no." And the reason I say that too is because I know someone who, like, almost died from this, and, it's if it gets bad enough, you need surgery. And Crystal, definitely not fun, yes. Either you know someone who has this or you have it too. You don't have to say. I'm just saying because you put that there, yeah, not fun at all. So, I know people who've had surgery for it. Luckily, mine, when I went in to, get it, they're like, "It's mild. You just need to take some, antibiotics and you're fine." Which they were right. It took 2 weeks to get through it. Chris, what's up, Chris from Columbus, Ohio, at the end of my first week of retirement. Dude, congratulations on your retirement. Hell yes. That's what I'm talking about. I love that. I hope that your retirement already has been excellent. Congratulations once again, my friend. Crystal says, "Mother and other family, not me, thank goodness." Yes, thank goodness, because it sucks. It sucks. It is not good. So the medication, everything was fine. But here's the thing, too. I mean, they said it's just a minor case. And I was like, if that's minor, I don't want to know what like full blown is, because that's a different kind of pain. I'll put it this way. At one point, like, it hurt to sit down. Like, it wasn't good. So these last couple of weeks, I mean, this isn't I will always have this, right? But it depends on how you eat and all this other stuff. Well, holidays, traveling like crazy, and really not watching what I was eating. Too much spicy, greasy, food, like everyone has problems with. But man, I'm Mexican. That's like two of my main food groups right there is spicy and greasy. So it's a little tough for me. But all that to say is that I think all of this just kind of built up and built up. And I started feeling the pain. So, last week I went to the doctor. And last week was when the Denise Amberly Foundation's conference, Be the Difference, was supposed to be going on. Luckily, the weekend before that, leading into the last week, the weather was crazy. And yes, Crystal says no nuts, corn, or seeds. However, my doctor said that that's old research. I've been eating popcorn like crazy. No issues. Anything with seeds, no issues. Nuts, no issues. It was really the like spicy and greasy food. Because I asked her too. I said, I've read this about, the nuts, corns, and seeds and all this other stuff. And I said, I'm so sad because I'm not going to be able to eat popcorn anymore. And I love popcorn. And she goes, who told you that? And I said, I did research. And she goes, that's old research. We don't hold any restrictions on people anymore. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah, we don't hold restrictions. And I said, oh. So yeah, so I've been doing it, and it has not bothered me or anything. Oh, Crystal says, "Wow, popcorn is what set my mom off just 2 years ago." See, and that was stuff that I read about, but my doctor's like, "No, you can eat all the popcorn you want. It's not even that." And I said, "So what is it?" And she goes, "It's not like foods like that. It's again," she's like, "It's all the research." Also, I'm not a doctor, okay? So I'm telling you what my doctor told me. So, don't go to tell somebody and be like, "Well, Ricardo was saying that, you'll be fine." Because it could be different for everyone. So just don't quote me. Um, but that's just what my doctor said, that was all old research, and I have no food restrictions at all whatsoever, just so you know, except for right now. So let me get to this part here. So I was um it sucked that they had to postpone their conference, but because of the weather and stuff, they made the difficult decision that they weren't going to do it. And I had another engagement as well on top of that that was going on in Florida, but originally I wasn't going to the one in Florida. I was just going to go to the one in Tennessee, and because I was going to teach there, I was going to do the podcast and all of that. Well, once that ended up going out, I ended up getting a hold of my doctor because here's the thing, and this is like blessings in disguise. I think we've all gone through those moments where there's a blessing in disguise, where I ended up getting a hold of my doctor because I needed to get a refill of my high blood pressure medication. And they told me, you have to come in to do this face to face. Like, we need to actually see you this time because when I needed the refill, I was out of refills and they said I needed to come in. And I said, I'm out of state right now and I need that medication. So they gave me just enough. And then they gave me a doctor's appointment. Well, I got a hold of them and said, you're going to have to, can we push it forward? Like, can we do it faster than what you're telling me? Because one, I need the medication. Two, I've been having some pains in my stomach that feel kind of like a flare up for the diverticulitis. Usually with a flare up, all I have to do is, do like a liquid diet for like a couple days and I'm good to go. It goes away. Literally, all of it goes away and it's fine, but not this time. So they ended up moving it up. So it was last week, Wednesday. So I ended up not going to the Florida engagement after all. And I go in and I get everything figured out to refill my meds and stuff. And the doctor and the student doctor that was with her, they're like feeling around my stomach and they pressed down. I went, oh, yeah, that didn't feel great. And she goes, oh, okay. Um, we need you to get a CT scan like as soon as possible, immediately. So then I start freaking out and I'm like, Okay, why? Like, what's going on?" Now, oh, this is gonna be a little TMI, but I have a hernia that I've had for, like, over a decade, and if any of you know people or if you yourself have a hernia, you know that, it's like, whatever. The doctor will tell you, you'll be fine," but, I mean, if it were to get worse, then, we can do surgery or whatever, but I've had it for that long, and they're like, "No, you're still good." But with this, they're like, "We need to get a CT scan because maybe something is wrong, with it, and we need to check it just in case, or maybe there's something up with your appendix." They wanted to rule these things out, and before they just sent me home with meds to say, "Hey, it's just a diverticulitis," which I appreciate. So, I go to get it done, and they had to do some other blood work anyway for, like, my annual physical and stuff, so I got that done at the same time. But if you've ever had a CT scan done with contrast, where you have to have an IV for the iodine, dude, that is some crazy shit. Because as soon as they inject that into your IV, well, a couple seconds after they inject it, it feels super hot right here, and the only way that I can explain it is if you've had moonshine, like real moonshine, you know what I'm talking about. It's hot here, then your entire chest and the rest of your body gets hot. That's what that's like when they do the contrast and the iodine and stuff, and they tell you too, they tell you exactly what's going to happen, and they go, "That hot feeling is gonna last for 30 seconds." And I mean, it's 30 seconds. It's not that long, right? But when you're feeling that warmth, it's like, when is it gonna end? And it's not horrible, it's just kind of a weird feeling because it's just, like, super hot and stuff, and I'm like, "Okay." But also the doctor or the nurse, tells you, "You're gonna feel warm throughout your entire body, but it's also gonna make you feel like you need to pee." And the first time I had that done, I was like, "Nah." No, it does make you feel that way. It does. And, so at least for me, in my experience, before they do it, you have to drink 2, like, 12-ounce cups of, like, a water iodine solution, and then, when you go in and you're, like, about to go in, you gotta put your arms up, and she's she's standing there over me, and she goes, "Okay, um" here we go. And I was like, okay. And she does it and she goes, remember 30 seconds. And I said, yep. And then I felt it all warm. I was like, here we go. Well, here's the thing though. I didn't use the bathroom before. Like after I drank both of those cups, I was like, now I have to go. And this is going to suck because this thing is going to make me feel like I need to go. God help me. I am a grown ass man. I do not want to wet myself. So I'm laying there as it's like taking the pictures and everything, and I'm just in my head going, "You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You're a big boy." I didn't say that part, but I did say to myself, "You're a grown ass man. Do not be do do not let it go. Like, you can hold it. You're a grown ass man. So I'm like talking to myself in my head. And then at the same time, though, there's a voice from the machine, and it's saying, um, hold your breath, like breathe in, breathe out, don't breathe. And then it's like taking pictures and stuff. And then it does that a few times. And when it's done, I was like looking down. Oh no, I'm good. I didn't pee. So, um, and I'll tell you right now, last week, all this laughing that I'm doing now, man, I did an open mic leading up to uh my doctor's appointment last week, and I was laughing hard when I did that open mic. But what you don't know is how much pain I was in during that time. Oh, Julie says, "Are we talking like you ate a gas station burrito, needed to hold it?" Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Um, but I was in a lot of pain. But I wanted to come on, and I thought, "I'm just gonna push through, I'll be fine." Because up until that point, I thought, I think I'm alright, like, I'll be able to this'll pass." Mm-mm. Nope. That next day, and everything that was going on, I was in pain. It was bad. So all the laughing that I'm doing right now, no pain. That medicine has been working. But it kind of freaked me out though, because when I got done with, the scan, I went back into the room that I was in before, and I have my arm out, right, with the IV, and, I said to the nurse, I said, "Are you gonna take this are you taking this out?" And she goes, "Oh, no, no, no. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that in there, just in case we need to do emergency surgery or something." And at that point, I'm like, "Okay, this is different than I thought how this Wednesday was gonna go." And I said, "All right." And she goes, because it would be smarter for us to just leave it so that if that does happen, they don't have to poke you again?" And I said, "No, no, no. I completely understand. I just wasn't expecting you to say what you said." Um, so so I'm just sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And the nurse comes back and she goes, "All right, I got your results." And and she was all like chipper and stuff. And I said, "Okay, I'm in pain." I said, "What what is it? What is going on?" And she goes, "Everything else is ruled out. It's just a diverticulitis. It's just, small infection. So very minor." And I said, "The pain doesn't feel minor, but I get it." Because seriously, in the grand scheme of things, it could be way, way, way worse. It's just the pain sucks. And also, to all of you women out there, God bless you. Because if the pain that I was going through is anything close to what happens every month, this is why women are way more stronger than men. Seriously, man. I will yep, I applaud all of you. Well done because I could not. I couldn't do it. I mean, what I was going through it was like 2 weeks, and it was really bad, but, yeah, more power to all of you. You are all way stronger than I am. Just wanted to put that out there. Um, so, they give me the script and everything. I get my meds, but here's the thing, and I'll just say this really quick and wrap this part of it, because I just wanted to explain where I've been and what's been going on. And I know that I don't have to, but I love all you guys. And you've been my biggest supporters. But during these last few weeks, I've been posting stuff here and there, and but ultimately I have been like down and low number, a very low number. At one point, I was in my room in fetal position with the lights off. I didn't have a migraine, but I had so much pain, not just on in my stomach, but in my like up towards the back of my neck here. There was so much tension that I just had to lay down. So been going through a lot of shit, but I just wanted to explain why I had not gone live or I had not been posting like I usually post, which is a lot. I have been doing what I tell all of you to do, which is listen to your body. Because again, as I say many times, if you don't listen to your body, eventually your body is going to make you listen. And while I was in full control, I was not listening. I was just like everyone when you are just on the go, just picking up and eating whatever to get through the day, or sometimes not eating. I mean, not eating all day, but just at some points missing meals and just having caffeine because I need to push. I need to get through. Well, I don't want to be that kind of dumbass. And so I'm on the mend. And that's why I'm live today too. And I've done my lives these past couple days. I didn't do the coffee one that I do on Mondays, but I did do the midweek check-in yesterday, and I gave a version of this explanation yesterday too, in the trenches community. So they got it first. Um, but those pills that they gave me, I have shit, it's 10 o'clock right now, so I have to take one more. So here's the thing. Let me say this really quick. Oh, wait, let me look over here. Roxy, what up, Roxy? Roxy says, bruh, the plague? I completely said that wrong. The plague has got me twisted. I know. I saw that like today I saw that you weren't doing that. You weren't feeling that great. So I hope you are on the mend as well, that you're coming out of this plague, whatever it is that's going on. Gina, what up, yo? What's going on? But also Roxy says, I'm so sorry you've been feeling bad. Dude, I'm sorry that you've been feeling bad. And anybody else out there who's been dealing with some bullshit, man, we got this. We're gonna get through it together, however we make it. Crystal says, "Yay, glad you're feeling better." Yes, I'm feeling way, way better, man. Oh my god, way, way better. Um, those pills. This will be the last part. So when I got this antibiotic, I forgot what it was like from the first time that I got it, like a year or two ago. And one, they are horse pills. Like they're like enormous. Not that big, but they're huge. I'm exaggerating a little bit, a lot of bit, but they're huge pills. And the I have to take them 3 times a day. And of course, it's because of this infection. I'm not bitching and moaning about. I mean, I am right, but I know it's for me to be better, and I'm fine. But here's the other thing: when I put one in my hand to then throw it in my mouth and then, swallow it down with whatever I'm drinking at the time, it leaves a powdery residue and it tastes of very bitter aspirin. Aspirin is bitter as it is, but this is way worse. And it cakes your tongue and it makes me nauseous. And it says right in the bottle too, it says may make you nauseous. And I'm like, nah, I'll be all right. No, it makes you nauseous. Not good, man. Not good at all. But I've got 2 days left of that medication, and I cannot wait because it'll end right before the Super Bowl. And no, I'm not gonna be that dumbass. I'm not gonna just start eating a bunch of spicy and greasy shit. Um, I have some things planned, but it's gonna be more like chicken wings that just have, like, salt and pepper. Maybe some bean dip. Um, that'll be good enough for me for the Super Bowl. Like, I don't go I mean, we go all out sometimes, but, um, I would rather just have a bunch of, like, veggies and dip, man, and some wings. Like, I'll eat some chicken. I'll drop some chicken. What do you guys do for Super Bowl? I know when I was in dispatch, we would bring in a bunch of different food and stuff. Oh, wait. Erica says, "Just hearing you describe that made me nauseous." Dude, for real. It is it's not good, but it is good only in the sense that it is taking away the infection and making me feel better is what I mean. But, in dispatch, the few Super Bowls that I can remember from dispatch, we would all bring in a dish to pass, and we would have all kinds of crazy food, and we would have the game up on one of the TVs. So that was always cool. That was always fun to do. But, how about you guys? Do you guys do anything for Super Bowl? Let me know. Throw that in there. Throw that in the comments as we're going through all of this. Um, but again, I just wanted to share that and just say that I appreciate all of you and your support and continued support in everything that I do. I love being able to come on and chat with all of you and just share stories and give back in any way that I can to this profession that I love so much. But I just been out of it and I haven't been able to say anything. Like usually I'll have a post that says, I've been dealing with this. And I think I did post something that said that if I haven't responded to your messages or whatever, I apologize. Please forgive me and thank you for your patience because I've been going through some shit. Crystal says we graze all day on dips, veggies, fruit, wings, and appetizers and tater salad. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That right there. Yeah, we would do the same thing. Sometimes we would grill some brats or dogs or whatever. And yeah, it was always so much fun. It was fun. Even if it was busy, we're going through whatever shit we're going through on the shift. It was always fun. Like we would be grazing over food as well. um, so here is oh wait, Brittany, what up, Brittany? Says Brittany says my team works daylight Sunday, but we're going to plan some sort of Super Bowl spread. I know the big thing is wings. Yeah, dude. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yes. Man, those are some of the things that I miss about dispatch is just being there with the team and hanging out, having a good time. Um, Chris says, I'll be home watching the Super Bowl this year because I'm retired now. Did I mention that I retired last week? Dude, I am so happy for you. Seriously, I am so happy for you that you retired out and you're going to get to just chill and watch the Super Bowl, man. Like that is awesome. I love that for you. I've got a couple years left, a lot of years left, but it'll be awesome. It'll be cool. Thank you for your service and everything that you've done and just happy retirement, man. Yeah. Continue to enjoy it. So here's an odd question. How many of you how many of you dig Lego sets? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? The reason I ask is because recently I got into or I have gotten into um putting together Legos. Catherine, what up? Yes. Okay. So I've got one there. Who else? Anybody else? The reason I ask is because so growing up, there was always electronics, video games, or I was working. But there were a lot of different things that that my siblings and I were into. And other than like the erector sets or Lincoln Logs or anything like that, I don't remember fully that we had like straight up Lego sets or entire just like buckets of Legos to just put together and build or whatever. You know, my mom would probably tell me different, of course, because she would definitely know, but I don't remember. So as an adult, I ended up getting a couple small Lego sets for Christmas this past Christmas. And I was like, I've been missing out. So then I ended up buying a bunch of them. The only reason I bring it up is because, man, it's actually to me, to me, it was therapeutic. It was therapeutic just going through the process and building and going through it and just focusing on it. And these last few weeks being in pain and everything, that is what helped me just kind of focus other than the uncomfortable pain that I was going through and all of that. And I also bring this up and she's asleep right now, but her room is next to this room, so she would probably be able to hear me. But my youngest daughter, Olivia, um, we were sitting at the table and I was putting together one of the Lego sets, and she goes, "Hey, Dad, can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, for sure. Yeah." So what she was doing was I don't what she was doing was she was looking at the page, and she was grabbing all of the pieces that I needed, okay? She was grabbing all the pieces that I needed, and then she gave them to me in the group to then put together. I I know, you guys are watching me and you're like, "Why the fuck is he laughing?" Well, here's why. Because I was putting a piece a certain way, and she goes like this, read the instructions." And I look at her and I went, "What?" And she goes, "I'm a professional. I know how to do these. Just read the instructions." And I said, "Look," I said, "this is the way it's supposed to go." And she's just staring at me, and I'm laughing so hard because I can see her face in my head right now. And I said, "Look," I said, "it goes right." uh, okay. No, you were right. You were right. I was completely wrong. I was wrong in the one piece. And when I said you were right, I look at her and she goes, "Professional." Oh, man. She's so sassy. It was the most hilarious shit, and I couldn't help but just bust up laughing, but especially when she did the, read the instructions." Oh my god. It was one of the funniest moments, and I love my kids so much. I love being a dad. I really do love being a dad. So we ended up putting that together, and she goes, you could probably share that story on your open mic." And I said, "You know what, Mija? I'm going to. I'm going to share it." And so tomorrow morning, I'll tell her that I shared it. But how funny is that? That's why I wanted to see how many of you put together Legos. And if you don't, just get a small one and put it together because seriously, it can be therapeutic. And if you have kids and they help you out with it, it can be a lot of fun too. I don't know how many sets that I've put together now, probably about 10. There's one that I'm holding off on for a little bit because as soon as I got it, I wanted to put it together, but it's like it would be about this big, and it's an Optimus Prime, and it actually transforms into the semi. It is freaking cool. Let's see, Crystal says, "Dang, kids think they are so smart, LOL." Yeah, dude. Yeah, for real. And they are. They are. Oh, man. So, um, I wanna share a couple things, here really quick. The first one that I'm going to share, I'm going to preface this with a warning that what you're about to hear is a rant. I was sent this audio because, a lot of times people will send me audio and a lot of times I play it, or even, like, the funny, calls that people talk about during open mic of an Imagine Listening session. So this is a snippet of a call that someone sent me where, honestly, when stuff like this happens, all you can do is just laugh. I mean, not to the person, right? Of course, but, because sometimes people they're upset with whatever it is that they're going through, and they take it out on us. And it's not okay, right? But like I said, sometimes after the fact, all you can do is laugh at certain situations because it's like, I don't know what to do. What do you do? I'm not gonna go at you or anything. Like, sometimes people are just upset and you're the person who's there and you end up taking it. Again, that's not an excuse. It's fucked up when people talk smack, but also you got to think of whatever situation they might be in. Like for me, with a lot of things, it takes a lot to piss me off. You do not want to piss me off, but it takes a lot to piss me off or offend me because I'm more of the mindset that, you know, everyone is going through something and I'm not going to attack you back or anything like that. Like, why am I going to waste my energy? What's the point? I'm not going to waste my energy. So let me switch this here really quick, the audio, so that you can hear this. And if you can't hear it, make sure to let me know. But because there's nothing going to be on the screen, you're just going to hear it. But again, some of the words, I'm just saying, because there's one word at the end that is a super bad one. And maybe I'll stop it right before the person says it. But I'm gonna play it because sometimes this happens and it's like, what do we do? Okay, here we go.
I got charged with a DUI.
Okay, did you just hear that? I just want to make sure that you heard that first. Someone in the comments, someone throw something in the comments just to let me know that you heard just that little bit. I'll give you guys a few seconds because I know there's kind of a delay in stuff between. Yes, you did. Anthony, what up, yo? What's going on, man? It's good to see you, dude. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Apparently, I got charged with a DUI like a mad long time ago, and your officers have been talking shit to people from my town about how I have a DUI. I got 1540 on my SAT. I'm smarter than you'll ever fucking be. I want you guys to shut the fuck up and let me do well in college and become a fucking doctor without your fucking help because you're fucking retarded and I'm fucking smart, you dumb fucking.
Okay, I cut it off right before, but you can tell what he said right at the end. That's what that's what it is. Whoa. Sometimes that happens, right? You know, props to the caller for having that high of an SAT score. Well done. But holy moly. Any thoughts? Any thoughts there on that audio? Now, at the end of the call, the call taker does say something to the effect of, um, "Well, thank you, sir. I hope your night gets better." Which, like, how what else are you gonna say, you know? Because that sucks. Anthony says, "Sometimes you just gotta let them vent and laugh after the fact." Yeah, exactly. Because it's just like, and I know I've shared this story before, but to go along with this, um, years ago, years and years and years ago, um, I took a phone call from a guy who was, like, angry like this person, um, and was going off on me because they were kicked out of a bar, and they felt that that they shouldn't have been kicked out. The reason they got kicked out was because they were drunk. They had had too many, okay? And this guy wanted me to send an officer to his house to give him a breathalyzer test so that he could prove that he wasn't as drunk as the bar said. Now, this whole time, this the caller is yelling at me and he's telling me, "Do your job, dispatcher. Do your fucking job, dispatcher," like over and over. He's like, "Come on, dispatcher, do your job." I'm like, "Sir, an officer is not going to go out there to do that, but I can have someone call you." "No, I want you to do your job." So this dude calls several times, and I let one of my officers know, and the officer says, "Look, if he calls again, let me know. We'll go pick him up for abuse of 911." And I said, "Okay." And sure as shit, a little while later, the same guy calls. "Have you done your job yet, dispatcher?" And I said, I said to my caller, I didn't laugh, but I said to my caller, I said, "You know what, sir? You know what? You're right. You're right. I apologize. I'm gonna send someone out there for you. I'm gonna do my job, and I'm gonna send someone out because you're right. We're here to help, and that's what I'm going to do is I'm gonna send you some help." And he goes, "It's about time, dispatcher, but let your officer know. I don't fuck around." And I said, "I will definitely let my officer know that." And I said, "Have a good night." And we hang up, and I get the officer on the radio. I'm like, "Go to secondary channel. Subject called again." And they're like, "All right, we're en route." And this was a trooper. So there was 2 troopers, because they were paired up. It was nighttime, and they go out there, and actually, there was one more part that I forgot to add. At the very end of the call, before I say, "Have a good night," and everything else, we'll get somebody out there, I said to him, "Now, the place where this happened is at the very southern end of our county, and you gave me your address that is at the most northern part of our county. So I have to ask, did you drive?" And there was silence. And then he goes, "You know what? That's not the point." Right there tells me you drove. Yeah. So officers get out there. It wasn't even 5 minutes that they were out there, and we hear over the radio, "Central, copy mileage. We've got one in custody." And I thought, "Oh my god, man, that dude." Yeah. So what happens. Like, that can happen. if you're abusing 911 like that. I also ended up getting an email, a forwarded email from the director of my center from those troopers because they listened to the tapes. They listened to the recordings, and they gave me a, kudos. It was a kudos email saying that I was very professional and that, I did a very good job because that caller was destroying me, like this caller that we just heard a moment ago. But it happens, and like Anthony said, sometimes you just gotta let them vent. Oh, Anthony says, "My favorite calls are the calls where someone tells on themselves." Yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That happens. People will call on themselves. But, sometimes when they call on themselves, I'm glad. I'm glad that they call on themselves. And what I mean, though, is in the sense that, there's some calls out there, you can find these tapes where people call in, and I know I've heard the story during, different open mic sessions where they go, "Yeah, someone called in a BOL, and it was for an intoxicated driver," and it turned out it was the caller. The caller was calling on themselves. And even though that sounds funny and outrageous and like, why would you do that? You know what? I'm glad. Thank you for calling on yourself because you are gonna get taken in. You're probably we're gonna pull off to the side or whatever to wait for an officer to catch up to you, and you have not hurt yourself or no one else out on the road. It'd be nicer if you had, someone come and get you or you walk home, right? But at the very least, dude, thank you for calling on yourself. Not a lot of people do, and shit happens. But yeah, that's how some of that goes down. So I also have a picture that I want to share with all of you. This was a picture that was sent to me by a dispatch friend of mine, and they're pretty sure this is AI. I'm pretty sure this is AI as well. But I want to share it really quick because I want to see from all of you who are watching and listening right now, how how do you think this would come in to dispatch, and how would you dispatch this call? There it is right there. Looks like an apartment complex, a bunch of deer, and they are trying to get to this pie. When my homegirl sent this to me, I was like, dude, this is freaking hilarious. Yeah. And that's what that's what they told me too. They're like, dispatch this, like this could be used for dispatch this. And I was like, yes, because for those of you, who are here, you may or may not know, for a while there, I was asked, and I'm gonna have to, you know what, I'm gonna have to do this again because it was so much fun to do it. And what it was I would tell people, if you find funny pictures like this or something weird, like one of them, it was a car that had like a canoe on it or something like that. And I said, we're going to hashtag this, dispatch this. How would you dispatch this call? Or how do you think that this call would come in? One of them, open mic just happened to land on April Fool's Day. So I had a picture where it was like a T-Rex that was running across the highway. And I said, okay, we're going to play this out. How do you think this call would come in? What do you think the people would say? And then how would you dispatch this out? So with this picture here, how do you think this call would come in? So that deer is all the way up at the top, mouth over the hot pie that is cooling off. And then what, 2, 4, 6. Actually, one of the deer there looks like it's a two-headed one. I don't know. Either way, how do you think this would come in? I think it would be funny, in a way, like funny and outrageous. 911, where's your emergency? Yeah, so you're gonna you're gonna think I'm crazy, No, ma'am, or sir, whichever. um, no, tell me what's going on. Let me get your address, all the other stuff. I just finished making a pie, okay? And I set it out to cool down, and there's a deer up at my window. There's actually a bunch of deer at my window trying to get to it, and I'm afraid to approach the window because there's so many of them. Okay, all right, we'll see if animal control can go out there. I mean, I'm not sure, like, it's a wild animal. They usually only I mean, we can try to get somebody out there. I mean, what else are they doing? You're on the first floor, right? No, actually, I'm on the second floor. At that moment, in the back of my mind, I would be thinking, "Okay, wait, what?" And it would probably come out loud as well. Okay, wait a minute. You're on the second floor, but you're telling me that there's a deer that's like you can see its face? Sir, I am telling you, its head is almost inside the window. It's trying to eat this pie that I just made. I look down and the main deer that is on top, it's like they're a pyramid. Like cheerleaders, how they get in their pyramids? This is how it would go down because you'd be taking this call and you're like, "What? How is this even possible that these deer are climbing up like this, trying to get this pie?" And then how are you gonna put it out over the radio? Because, like, we would have people call in saying, "Someone hit a deer, it's in our yard. Can you have someone come and pick it up?" And we're like, "Um, it might run off." There was one time too, I remember taking a call where a deer got hit and it landed in their front yard, and they're like, "You guys don't have someone that just comes and picks them up and removes them?" And we're like, "No, no, we don't do that. Um, I can give you a phone number where you can call, or you can look it up." I think it was called like Wildlife Wranglers or something, especially for like raccoons or whatever. It would happen like that, and we would just tell them like, "You got to call." Like our animal control doesn't do that. It's not what they do. But I can just imagine being on the radio and just saying something to the effect of stations to or central to all stations and units, gotta just like put it out over the air to see if anybody will go out there. Like, what do you think? What would an officer do? Shoo, or be like, just give him the pie. Oh man. I mean, I've taken calls that were similar to this. Just something that's like off the wall, and you just go with the flow. You just gotta go with it. Let me see here. No, nobody in the comments, man. I was looking to see what you guys thought on how would you even put this out? Unless you're typing. I can't see if you're typing or anything like that. But if you end up coming up with something. Oh, all right, we got one right here. Crystal says, "I think I'd," as if she said, "cook the pie after." Are you saying that you would think that you would think that the caller had, excuse me. Oh, I think I'd ask if she had cooked that pie after smoking something. Ma'am, okay, so I just need to ask, because of the situation and everything, you're not in any danger, right? No? Not in danger? Okay, okay. It's just the deer's head is in the windows trying to eat the pie. Okay, all right. We got that information and everything. I just need to know, like, are you on any medications or anything? Any drugs involved, anything like that? Can you imagine callers like, I do have a medical card and I had a brownie or you know what? I don't think there's any deer here at all. I might be hallucinating this. That's a pretty good brownie. But then someone is close by and they do extra patrol, right? As you're going through this and the officer sees this. Can you imagine? Central, I'm on scene of this call that you're currently on, and there are deer piled up like a pyramid at the window trying to eat the pie. I'm not sure what to do. Can you imagine though? Like, what if I think about that a lot with some of the callers that I spoke to that, kinda they were working through some issues or whatever, and they were seeing things that weren't there, but what if they were like, what if it was there and they're the only ones who can see it and just we can't see it? What if? I don't know. Crystal, thank you. Thank you very much for putting something on there. I appreciate it. Again, I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to put this out there again, start doing this again for the dispatch this because it was always fun and hilarious. Now, I got a couple things left that I want to talk about here really quick before we wrap up tonight's open mic. And I thank all of you for being here with me uh, out of nowhere. Because, like I said, I didn't advertise this, but also I will say I won't be doing open mic this Sunday because of the Super Bowl, but I will the following Sunday. Um, so, oh wait, Crystal says time to hang up the headset. These last couple things. So some of you may or may not know, but for the past um couple Fridays, in pain, um, I have gone live with my good friend Keely. Keely comes from public safety, and she's out of New Jersey. Amazing person, very cool, and we've worked on some projects together. And recently, she has retired out of dispatch. Thank you very much for all of your years in dispatch and just everything that you've done. Excuse me. And now she does, contract work and stuff and marketing and a bunch of other things. And one of the things she does is she is a marketing um like contractor and such with doing stuff with Rapid SOS. And as you all know, I've got a partnership with Rapid SOS for the Within the Trenches podcast. And a few weeks back, we had the honor of going out to Pittsburgh for an event put on by Kelly Flynn. What up, yo? What's going on, homie? Um, sorry, I gotta say hello. What up, Eaton County? Um, we had the honor of going out there for this event that HBO put on for their show, The Pit. And Rapid SOS was a sponsor of that because this event was put on to be able to give back and recognize and honor the healthcare workers and first responders of that do all of this work every day to save lives, whether it's first responders, 911, police, fire, EMS, all of us. And all of healthcare. And what they were doing was this event was at the Allegheny Hospital, which is where the pit is based out of, and they do some filming here and there around the building as well. And it was one of the coolest things to be able to go and do. And I was doing on the spot interviews, and what they did was they gave a pre-screening the day before it was supposed to air because they're doing season 2 right now, and it was for episode 2. So we were out there, and again, I got invited out there to do these on the spot interviews, do some behind the scenes stuff, and I've posted some of those videos out there. But excuse me, we're doing a as the most important minutes after the pit. And what we're doing is we're staggering episodes. We're talking about the episodes and connecting it with technology and people coming together and everything. And so it's been really cool to do, and tomorrow, we're doing another one. We'll be going live around 10 or 11 AM, probably closer to 11 AM, and we'll be talking about, episode 4, because episode 5 aired tonight, because The Pit is on, um it is on every Thursday at 9 PM Eastern Time on HBO Max. So, if you've watched it, it's a it's a great show. Um, and so we try to connect what is going on there and what built up to that. So we kind of try to imagine and putting those pieces together of what it was like for like that phone call. And because Keely has an EMS background as well, we combined those and putting it together with life-saving technology brought to you by Rapid SOS, but connecting it to some of those incidents that are happening in each episode. So it's been a lot of fun to be able to do it. And we've had people viewing from a bunch of people viewing from all over the place. Well, and Anthony says Keely was a great travel agent for us too. She is the best. Missed you at Orlando. I missed you guys as well. And thank you. I'm glad I'm feeling better as well. But thank you, dude. I appreciate you guys. Cass County represent as well. And so tomorrow, again, I'm just letting you all know we'll be going live around 11 AM on all of the social media outlets that I have, as well as Rapid SOS's, to talk about this stuff. But we're going to have someone on as well to talk about real time interoperability, which really is, the solution, I would say, for CAD to CAD. So you can learn more about that tomorrow. But it's been an honor to be able to do it and to have this type of partner that, really, I'll just say this. I feel like, and this is just my personal, my own personal feelings here. I feel like Rapid SOS was the first company really to kind of recognize what was going on in dispatch when we're talking about location. Like they solved the location issue and everything, and they just continue to solve issues in 911 with their life-saving technology. So I say this as well because I remember being in dispatch years back, before they came on the scene, because I was out of dispatch a few years before they came out of nowhere. And I remember some of those phone calls, like I'm sure a lot of you do, where you've got someone who calls in and maybe they're on a cell phone that can only call 911. And the county that I worked in was a it was they had a lot of state game area. And I remember sometimes people calling in because they were lost. And almost all of them, we would have those moments where I'm guiding them out of the woods by saying, "Do you see the flashing lights from the officer's cruiser? Do you hear the siren? Walk towards the siren. Walk towards those lights." And Jen Robinson, what up, Jen? Just when I think they've done everything, they do something else amazing. Yes, yes, exactly. Yes. But I remember those times, and I would feel so good afterwards when we would find those people. But I remember how horrible I felt when we wouldn't find them. And why? Because we didn't have a great location. And maybe their cell phone dropped completely because they're in a dead zone. Maybe, like Gina says, "Oh, it's a party in here." Yeah, it is. In or maybe, the signal's bad, whatever the case may be. I remember those calls would also take a toll on my mental health and wellness because now I'm driving home for about an hour, hoping and praying that that person was found because the carriers, cell phone carriers, whichever one it might be, they couldn't get a good location on them. And during that time, we didn't have anything like the technology that's out there now. So I get a little jealous sometimes because, this technology is out there. But man, it's just so cool to be able to see this type of tech out there and how 911 professionals are able to use it. So it's a really cool thing. And I'm like, I know a lot of you know it already because some of you are there. You're within the trenches of 911 and you're using this technology and you're saving lives. And I know that maybe to some it might not seem like a big deal, but dude, when you are the one taking those calls and someone is lost and it turns out you couldn't find them because cell phone was bad, whatever the case may be, that takes a toll. So I feel like with technology like this, it also helps that as well. So, going into the wrap up of this, I want to share one last thing before we go. And this last thing that I'm about to share is something that's not only super cool, but also something that I am very, very proud of. Because along with this partnership that I have, I've had the opportunity to do some voiceovers. And that has been a lot of fun. I have my voiceover microphone right here. And I'm the voice of some dispatch centers on the East Coast. When you call their 10-digit line, you hear my voice, which is kind of funny because I have friends all over the country, but especially in Michigan. I've had one of my coworkers reach out to me and say, "Man, you freaked me out today." I'm like, "What?" Like, "I called such and such dispatch center and I heard your voice. You've reached such and such 911. If you need 911, press 1. If you need this, press 2." They said, "I heard your voice and I thought, did I call Ricardo?" And actually, this one that I'm talking about specifically, the one that I worked with, it was Rich. Because her and I grew up together and we went to school together. So she's like, "Did I call Rich?" I'm like, "Nope, I'm at home working." But all of that to say that I've had the honor and opportunity to do some of these voiceovers and lend my voice to it. So this what I'm about to show you is something that I am just super proud of. And what this company is doing is life-saving. So here we go. Let me throw this up on the screen here. Now, if for some reason you can't hear it, please throw that in the comments. If you can hear it, let me know as well, because I just want to make sure that you're able to hear everything. All right, here we go. Disconnection. Critical data trapped in silos.
wasting critical seconds. The choice is clear: a fragmented status quo that kills through silence and delay, or a connected future with AI clarity and speed. We choose a connected future because connectivity saves lives. RapidSOS connects every device, every agency, every company, and every community in a network that defends against the unexpected. We're the leading public safety AI company that unlocks mission-critical intelligence, enabling faster, smarter, more accurate emergency response. Public safety gets the intelligence they need when they need it. Enterprises get visibility that improves response outcomes, and communities are more resilient and lives are saved. Real-time data from the world's largest safety network of 700 million people using devices, apps, and sensors, over 200 global enterprises, and 22,000 federal, state, and local agencies fuels the Harmony AI engine delivering this intelligence. With every new connection, the network grows stronger, the AI smarter, and communities safer. We're building a world where people and technology unite. Because we're safer together.
Oh, shit. That is what I'm talking about right there, bro. For real. Yeah, dude. So let me tell you something. When I got this, when I got the script and everything else, and I was going through it, the video and everything was done, right? All I had to do was voice it over. And I did it once. Well, I did it a couple times, right? I hadn't recorded it or anything, but I had my daughter Lola, my 14-year-old, come upstairs. I was like, I need you to run upstairs here really quick. I put the headphones on her, and I was on this mic, and I started reading it and going through with the music and everything. And when we were done, she's like, "Oh!" She's like, "Dad, that was so good." I was like, "It sounded awesome, right?" And the video is just crazy good. And it explains everything that they're doing for all of these years that they've been around, providing this life-saving technology, building this safety network over these years. And right there at the end, because we're safer together. Dude, so good. So a big shout out to RapidSOS. Thank you very much. And that video is just like Jen says there. That's amazing. Yeah, that came out really, really good. And it is on their YouTube channel right now, and I believe that they're going to be sharing it out soon on the other platforms, and I'm going to share it on probably my TikTok and stuff too. I don't want to go all over too overboard or anything, but probably one of the coolest projects that I've had a chance to do as well, doing like voiceovers. But I'll just say, I don't just put my voice anywhere. So this was a really cool moment. And again, I'm very, very proud of it, and just humbled and honored to be able to have this partnership with a company that also has a huge mission like myself, and that is to be able to provide and give back to all of you, the entirety of 911, but especially all of you within the trenches of 911 who are taking these calls, but are able to do what you do faster and quicker. Just be the heroes that you are. So thank you for everything that you do. This has been awesome. It has been an amazing evening with all of you. I appreciate you um, all very, very much. And joining me again, like I said, out of nowhere for tonight, because we're going like on an hour and a half of this, but it has been a couple of weeks. So I'm glad that we were able to do this. Where are your numbers now? I am way above a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty, 10 being awesome. Where are you? Where are you at? I hope that your numbers went up or that they even just stayed the same. Either way, I hope you had a good time tonight because that's what this is all about. Hanging out, talking, sharing, all of it. And I wouldn't be able to do this without you. Again, I love you guys. This has been so much fun. So if you have any comments, questions, or you ever want to be a guest on the OG podcast Within the Trenches, you can simply go to links.co/IM911, and that is links with 2 eyes.co/IM911, and you'll find everything there. My social media, email, where to follow, all of that good stuff, where to hear the latest episodes of Within the Trenches podcast, the Imagine Listening podcast, the link to the community, and it's free. So much stuff on that there. And I'm working on the next public safety showcase. So if you are a speaker, you've got a class for an hour that you would like to share virtually, hit me up because I am going to be reaching out to the speakers that I had already that I was going to do in December, but decided to push it because it's the holidays, man. I wanted everyone to just enjoy it. So good stuff there. Make sure to check that out. Any podcast dispatch merch, you'll find it on that link as well as the links for the Imagine Listening books. So again, that is links with 2 eyes.co/IM901. You'll find everything there. And then this was on Facebook, YouTube, as well as X. And then you can find clips of Within the Trenches on Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and also to listen to the podcast, you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and I will see you all in the next one.